I called the special meeting of the Board of Directors session for February 28th. We can all rise for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you everyone for joining on short notice. We'll go ahead and move to number 2 for the consent agenda. We vote on consent agenda? Yeah. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda, which is the resignation of our superintendent? Second. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. So now we move on to number 3 for the discussion item and the superintendent search discussion. If I can leave this, or if you want to.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You were in the same.
Yeah.
meeting
Okay.
as I was.
So just to give some feedback for everybody, when we were notified Jeff going ahead and resigning, I had reached out to Marlo, and she gave me the name of the last firm that we had used to hire Jeff. And that was Greg McKenzie and McKenzie and Associates or something like that. Okay. So I called Greg. He has retired. And he is now providing marketing services of his outreach for superintendents to Oregon School Board Association. So I reached out to OSBA, and that's one of the proposals that we have here. After that, Jeff had coordinated with Northwest Regional Education School District, and we met with Dan Goldman. And he provided additional names of companies that we could use for our search. There's 2 options that we can do. We can hire a search firm, or we can try to take this on ourselves. So
Did you happen to look at past searches, how they were done? Marla probably maybe even remembers. Do you remember how previous, like Hard March? Do you remember who we used for that?
We used Greg for him. I think we used OSBA back then. I don't remember if she used anybody other than those 2. What is the leadership and OSBA?
I would say Greg had most of he did a majority of the searches before he retired. And now he's, like you said, he's doing the advertising for OSBA. So he does a lot of this. He did a lot of the searches in Oregon, and now as you look through, OSBA has done a lot of searches in Oregon as well. I'll just come real quick and I'll be done. The Ray and Associates, they do some in Oregon, but they're based out of, it's like the president's in Ohio, but a lot of it is, the majority of, if not all of the Ray and Associates is virtual, where OSBA, I think, would be some virtual, some in person. And then the third one was the Hank Harris, and they do, I would say, bigger school districts, and they go throughout. I mean, if you were looking to get a United States search type thing, that's why they're so much more expensive. But I know some of the bigger school districts have used them.
So Human Capital and Enterprises, which is the Hank Harris, which is in here. Ray and Associates is in here. OSBA is in here. The one that I sent to you guys was the McPherson and Jacobson. It was the 4th company that they were given, and they were out in the Midwest.
And what was their fee?
That's the one that Jeff had reached out and hadn't gotten a response back.
I did a couple of times.
And so one of the things that we had to do with the board policy and getting 3 applications. So this fulfilled that responsibility. Now, if it's the 3 that we want to, use, that's for discussion.
It's a big consideration. I can say that, I don't know what this means, but I can say that the pool of candidates, the only 2 that, so, let's see. So Jim Smith was selected internally and Bob was selected internally. So there's really only been 2 outside searches in the last 10 years, correct?
I would say that is correct. I believe when we did Maryland, she was an outside search also.
Okay.
So
So-
it was, we did put that as probably like that.
So with, I wasn't on the board, I guess I was towards the end of Maryland's. So I don't know that firsthand. I did hear comments about the process. I know that the 2 that I was involved with, the pool was very weak. Frankly, in the pool that Jeff came in, and Jeff and 1 others were the only 2 people that were strong candidates. The other one backed out. And I was frustrated, especially after Maryland, that we didn't call off the search and start over. Because, well, what we ended up with.
Yeah.
And that set the district back years with Marvot. So I don't know if that's just the reality of the world for superintendents, or if that's obviously that search for those search firms come around, so that's not a reflection on anybody here.
So one of the things that, in talking with Greg, he was talking about timelines, and you'll see that in the proposals. And what Greg told me was that there's kind of 2 timelines for searching for superintendent. The first timeline is when, and as Marlo stated, we started in October and finished in April. The second timeline is where we're at now, where we start basically March and then try to finish by May or June to have the individual in place at the beginning of the school year. And I think what I recall, when the number of applications that we had the last time, I want to say there were probably between 20 and 30 resumes. Now, quality, it's up to the beholder, but there was a number of applications for the position. And I was concerned that we wouldn't get that this time around. So one of the options that we do have, if we go through this process, we hire a firm and we only get, a handful of resumes.
Or we get a lot, but we don't want it.
Yeah, whatever the situation is, that we can elect not to hire at this time and go with an interim superintendent. And then we go do this process again in that first time frame of October through April.
Do you know how the fee, what happens to the fee if we don't make a hire? Is it just a flat fee no matter what? Probably out the money.
Yeah, that's how I took it, Will, was that we pay them to do a search, they do the search. If we don't like the search, then we pay them again or pay someone else to do it again.
Because in the conventional headhunter world, it's a guarantee. So if you don't find somebody, they keep going at it until they do. That, I'm not saying that applies. I'm just recalling what I.
So could we hire an interim from within, like with some staff members or other administrative would like to apply?
I think we would approach that road if we got there. And just trying to figure out how that affects the rest of the district.
Yeah.
Has anybody expressed an interest within the district? Just passing?
To my understanding, that there's 2 of our administrators that are interested in the position, have shown some interest in the position. I don't know if I can get into names, but you could probably guess. Will.
We don't have that many administrators.
Well, I can think several might be qualified.
So I think there's an option if we wanted to go down that road. I was hoping that we could take this first step and see what we get, and then approach the second step later. If, the risk to that, the downside to that is we might be spending money twice for the search.
You need to get an interim first, is that what you're talking about, or?
No, well, I don't know if you're right as far as you hire a headhunter and they.
Yeah, I don't know
they
how
do
it
that.
works. It's really.
I'm taking it that they submitted a proposal to do a search, we review it, they provided candidates, if we don't like them, we've already spent that money, they've already done the
Right.
exercise, that they would have to do the exercise again.
I do think we need to get clarification on that, but I think you're probably
I
right.
know, I just don't like spending a lot of money.
Well, is that really the issue? What outcome do you want?
No, well,
What outcome do you want?
pardon?
What outcome do you want?
I want a good superintendent,
Oh.
somebody that knows our community, and just,
What's it worth paying?
pardon?
What is worth it to you to pay for that?
Nothing. I don't want to pay.
You might. have a
I'm just
problem.
being facetious, but I'm just saying that, we've got so much that we need to do for our schools, and so I don't know if we have a pocket for this and a pocket for that, but,
That's why I asked you, what outcome do you want?
well,
What's your
I want a
priority?
good superintendent
What's your
without
priority?
paying very much money. That's my outcome.
That tells me it's a low priority, the superintendent's a low priority,
No, a superintendent is not a low priority.
because you have to make a choice. I mean, you may have to make a choice, you may not.
Yeah. Well, my choice would be a really a good superintendent.
So I think, I don't know what Dan or Krista, what your feelings are about this.
I mean, we could just do an internal evaluation. Not spend anything. And then choose from that whether we want to go out. I'm not advocating that, I'm just
Yeah,
don't want to lose the possibility.
well, and one of the things that in my mind I was trying to balance was we have a complete changeover of our administrative staff right now. And so my priority was to try to get someone in place as soon as possible. So then other decisions can be made.
How will we go about deciding by what qualification we will make a hire?
To my understanding that the search committee reaches out to our public, the general public, and teachers and administrators and others to formulate the characteristics that we're looking for.
Well, I think they gather input. We make the decision.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll
yeah,
gather
yeah,
all the
yeah.
input and then they bring it back to you, report it back, and then you guys go through, not this, not that, this is what we're gonna say.
Because we need to spend some time doing that ourselves.
Well,
That's true.
Hmm?
That's true.
That's fair.
That's usually the problem. That's not done thoroughly enough.
Right.
I guess I'm feeling relieved that we do have an alternative plan, right? Which is, I mean, I feel like this is a time crunch. We obviously have a shifting administration and this wisdom that's about to leave us, right? I mean, Marla, you've been here how long? Right, we need a while, right? So this is like this library of knowledge, right? We're always defaulting to you for everything. So if we could have someone who's learning from the people that are here, that would be ideal. But I don't see this as a situation that we're gonna have, a solution to anytime really soon. I think it is a process, like we said, we need to come up with what we want, and leading us out of what has been probably the most tumultuous 2 years of the, possibly the history of the district is, we need someone really strong, right? So we want to make sure that we do this right and we're thorough about it. So I guess I was like, oh my gosh, we have to have this June when Jeff is going to make the change. But I think Jeff, you also said, like, if you needed to stay on a little bit longer, you could help us maybe transition that person. I don't know if that's something we can negotiate, but I think just having someone, hoping to have someone in by the beginning of the year is our goal. But if that doesn't happen, having that intern as a viable option, I think makes me feel a little bit better that we're not going to rush through this process. We want to take this seriously because we don't want to do it wrong and then have to do it again in a year, right? Or something like that. So I don't know. And I was going to ask Will about, with your expertise, what you thought about doing this internally. My gut is saying, I agree with you, Leslie. I don't want to spend any money, but I don't want to spend do it myself. But
Right.
I don't know. I'm a steep learning curve for me, right? So what are your thoughts, Will, about trying to do this internally versus hiring? Because I'm leaning towards hiring very strongly.
Well, the difficult thing to know for me is what pool there is. If you were hiring, an executive in an established executive role, and you particularly if you went nationwide, there was somebody out there. And so your key is that you hire somebody that can make sure that they get to those people. And then we have to do the job of defining really carefully what those standards are going to be. If the pool is limited, then it may not matter who you hire. If there's 50 people out there and anybody can go drum up the 50 people, and we make our choice. That's why I said that the pools have not been good, because we had easily 30 people, and the other issue is that I don't suspect even if Jeff wanted to hang around, you've got to be starting school like August 1st, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
You got to have your head in the game there. So that's, even if you were willing, that's only a 30 or 60 day difference. And there's a lot of different ways you go about it. We could focus on Marlo's position first.
So just recognizing that we have our employee is our superintendent, and the superintendent hires a business manager, and the Marlo, I don't know how many titles you have, but Marlo's 5 positions. I think the superintendent should have a say in that.
And who the administrator, well, that would be typical, yeah.
I would hope anyway. So like I said, I was trying to get this going quicker. Now, if you guys don't, if we want to pull it back, do an interim, that's fine. We can do that. But then we're starting the process probably in October and running it through like we did last.
Is Joni's end date June 30th as well? Have you talked to her about whether she would extend?
I have not, I don't know. Jeff has.
You got her input from her?
Are those jobs posted?
Not yet. Soon. We plan the next week. So.
Okay.
Joni's on, and you want to ask her a question.
Oh. No. Has anybody asked you that question, Joni?
I don't want to speak. for her.
Whether or not I would extend?
Whether or not you would extend for some period of time?
No, nobody's specifically asked me that question.
Is that anything you would consider discussing?
I think I need to think about it a little bit.
When you say extend, how long are you?
I don't know. That's the question, I guess. If Joni, if you're gonna think about it, I'd be curious, what your thoughts are. I mean, if you said, yeah, let's extend 30 days, then that's not gonna be a huge thing. If you say, you might be able up to 6 months, that's a different story. or even part-time or something like that. I'm just trying to minimize ever doing everything at once, if it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, right now at this moment, I wouldn't extend full-time for a month or for 6 months or, maybe some consulting time or something like that. But I mean, I don't want to leave a new business manager in the lurch. So if somebody's not hired by June 30th, I may be open to coming in and doing some training with them.
So the question in front of us is, do we want to look at internal candidates and just try to do this ourselves internally first to see who's going to apply? Or do we hire one of the search firms that we have here? If we don't like the search firms that we have here, I'm open to reaching out to others. We've met our requirement, but we can continue to search for a search firm.
Has anybody actually, if you talked to any, to, for example, this board association,
I talked to OSBA, yeah.
you talking about that had used them?
Oh, for references?
Yeah.
No, I was going off of my conversation that I had with Greg, who from, based on our experience, had worked with us previously. And the fact that he had transitioned to basically being a consultant for OSBA. And he said he would be willing to continue to work with us.
And so I guess the question is, if we choose to select one, how do we select?
Well, so when I sent the emails and the links of all of this, I didn't know if anyone had the opportunity to take a look at the firms and the proposals. But
I looked over them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to take.
We could look at price. That's one option. One's a few $1,000s difference. I don't know if anyone has had more experience with any or knows anything about these two companies.
Wouldn't
Or three companies.
OSBA have more kind of local, like Oregon experience with knowing who's available and stuff? I mean, to me, it seems more likely that we should just, at this point, go with OSBA.
Yeah, I mean, my preference, if I would go with the OSBA based off the conversation that I had with Greg.
And just reading what they had sent us, it seemed
I agree.
reasonable to me.
I thought so too.
Well, it seemed very collaborative too.
Yeah.
Like they really wanted to make this a process and it seems like they want to involve stakeholders and really involve the community and I agree, like keeping it local. I didn't want to send out money to other states if we could keep it here. That's what I'm leaning, and I felt like they put together a good proposal. It was probably what I think.
But they wouldn't necessarily limit it to the state. If we
Right.
No, they're gonna, I'm sure the job will get posted on job boards everywhere, so I don't think we're limiting that. What I like is they're here
Yes.
to come talk to us, to kind of formulate and help us get an idea of what we're really after as far as characteristics. And I think that would be a huge bonus.
I know when we hired the principal at elementary school, we hired a course from out of state. And our two top candidates were both from out of state. It's like, that's really a different discussion, but as long as we have access to that.
What I recall last time is that we had principals from principals and superintendents from Northern California and Southwest Washington. The last time that we went through this process.
I was in on that search.
I guess I would be curious. I mean, I don't, if they know what they're doing, they should be able to reach anywhere, I would think.
And honestly, I think we need to spend money to make sure that we do this right.
Right, that's where,
I
that's
totally
the respect that I felt too.
Yeah, and like I said, I can clarify with, like, if we make the decision to go with OSBA, I can clarify with them if we don't like the candidates that we get, because is it, do we have to pay you again to do it in the next season? Or,
Or what's the timeline, right? Like, if
well,
we open it until we find a candidate that we can serve.
yes, in the proposals, they had a timeline as far as what that schedule was.
Right.
But
But it's not
yeah.
based on our needs, right?
Say that one more
I'm
time.
wondering if that's based on our needs, assuming
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
think
need
so.
somebody in place
Yeah.
starting the school year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If
Yes,
we were to choose them tonight, what would be the process? Would they come in and do a verbal with us, or we just sign this, set a date for the first meeting, or what?
so if we approve the search firm, the contract gets signed and then they start running with it.
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of time. And it's gonna take them a little bit to get started, so.
I guess the only thing I would ask, is I just haven't had a chance. I've been out of town all week. And I'm not opposed to hiring them. I would like to make a couple of calls that never occurred to me till tonight that I could make to get some references both on them and some other alternatives, just so maybe if we decided to hire them, we could make it, hold the commitment, hold off for like 2 or 3 days, like at least put 10% people and see if there's anybody else they think we should ask.
So what I can do is I can table action, the number 4 action item. Because we do meet in a couple weeks for a regular board meeting, and then we can put that on there. Well, if you wanted to take.
Well,
those-
I don't want to hold it up that long.
Okay,
I just want to, it is Monday, so people are around.
yep,
I mean, is there some way we could go ahead and act on it, but then not submit the signed application until, say, Thursday or Friday morning, and then if I come up with something, I'll throw it out to people, and if you want to reconsider, fine, and if not, we'll just let it run.
I think it's probably gonna take a couple of days for them to come up with a contract and.
I think if we wanted to do that, well, I think we would just table 4 and then reschedule this for Friday. To take the vote, we can just do it by Zoom. Or-
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Friday doesn't work.
Okay,
I must be in my grand.
that's, okay, yeah, on the
Well,
bus.
there's
call in.
no cell service in the that's true.
So you got, I mean, we can
Okay,
take
we
that.
can do it Friday.
I mean, so we can reschedule this to take that and we can make it, it just depends on how much time you want to give it.
Yeah, I just, it's a matter of when, if I can just, if I get on the phone the next day, I can just,
Yeah.
there's just 2 people, I just occurred to me that I think I should talk to, because they're some of the top people in the industry, and they'll know off the top of their head if they have any interest in it themselves, and if so, why, or if there's other people, I think they'll know of other people too.
Okay,
So
so
just be a good check.
let's do
Wednesday
this.
or Thursday.
Let's go Thursday then. That way, and then we can just do this by Zoom.
Okay,
Everyone's
Sounds
okay?
good.
yeah.
Let's go to that. Okay. Okay, so do you guys, any more discussion on superintendent search? Or we?
What time are you thinking on Thursday?
Oh, hold on. Anybody wants to?
I'm not available till at least 6.
Yeah, that'll be better.
6:30 or 7.
be leaving Thursday,
I would be driving, so.
so you're going Friday.
So that works for me. So are we good for 6 p.m.
6:30
Zoom?
or, yeah, either 6:30 or 7. I have classes.
Let's do that.
Okay,
6:30.
6:30 or 7, yeah. 6:30 is good.
6:30 Thursday, and we'll vote on
did
the,
you say you were driving that night? No. Oh.
I did.
Oh, you
He's driving, so.
Yeah,
we don't have to be here.
I'll be right down the bus.
Okay, Thursday at Zoom, on Zoom at 6:30.
6:30.
mhm.
6:30.
Cool, that's perfect.
And then that, in the meantime, I can check out with OSBA, just get that back, because this doesn't work for us to schedule. What do you guys do from a fee standpoint?
Yeah, good idea.
So with that, we'll table action item number 4, and we'll push that to Thursday. And we adjourn.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ron.
Okay. Thank you.